Well, I, for one, would like to welcome our new AI overlords, and I hope they remember I always said thank you. Yeah, I don't think that sound worked out. No. Nope. We don't have time. We'll just do it live. Well, hi there. My name's Charles Ray Dawson. I'm the Associate Broker, Residential Sales Manager of ProStar Realty. This is the Unnamed Real Estate Podcast, episode 261. And I hope you guys are all having a good day. So, not kidding. I do not think the audio came out on that teaser as well, but I was happy with it. I just don't think the audio was bad. I'm not in the mood to re-record. Okay, we're just rolling. So lights on, rays on. So hope you guys are doing okay. I have hit the worst case of brain fog in like the last hour or so. I'm really trying to figure out what's going on. Could be because I skipped breakfast. Could be because I got in late last night. Although I did sleep till like a minute before my alarm went off. So I got sleep, I think, One of the problems with trying to figure out whether or not you slept good or not is that you're asleep during it, But anyway, so I have gone from walking out to my car to get something, finding it wasn't in my car, having a little mini panic attack, and then realized it was in the pocket that I swear I checked before I went out. I poured coffee creamer in the top of the Keurig, in the space where the pods go, all right, and then went to wash the little pod carrier. Coming back from the bathroom, I started trying to unlock the door to the office with the bathroom key, even though it wasn't locked. Yeah, just weird. I'm having a weird morning, so hope you guys are doing all right. Let's see. This is February the 5th on the major news sources. Still haven't heard about our tariffs yet from the Supremes. Did find out that California gets to redo their congressional districts, so that should be entertaining. We're shooting down drones in the Persian Gulf, but these are all outside of the scope of this podcast because we talk real estate. And today we're continuing on this little AI rabbit hole that I've been down because it's like every week there's a new article about this, that, and the other thing. So in the interest of getting to stuff that I want to talk about, let's get the numbers out of the way really, really quick for those two people out there who just watch me for the numbers so you guys can go back to do whatever the hell it is you're doing. So our numbers for this week, these numbers are from February the 4th, 2026. Actives this week were 24,232, up 230 from the previous week. Our new listings are 2,746, up 71. Our contracts were 2,616, up a number. See, told you guys I'm having a brain fart today. Closings are 1,675, and coming soon to an MLS near you are 755 new listings. Now, Crawford Report numbers, because of the activity they came in, same thing. Supply went up, demand went up, supply went up faster than demand. Okay, so we're at 95.8 for supply. We are at 83.6 for demand, and leaving us a Crawford Report index number of 87.2. We break it down into our little local neighborhoods and stuff like that. Oh my God, Fountain Hills, right? You have dropped 20% month over month, right? They were at 193.8 a month ago, and they're down to 156, right? Still a seller's market. Right. Other sellers markets along these lines are Chandler, Gilbert, Phoenix, Scottsdale, Mesa, Glendale, Cave Creek, and Tempe. Okay. Then we have a pretty decent jump into our balanced markets, right, which are considered right now being Peoria, Avondale, and Paradise Valley. Don't care. All right. And then our definite buyers markets, right? Goodyear just dropped 11% month over month, and they weren't doing too good to begin with, right? Santan Valley is standing steady, slightly trending up. Surprise is standing steady, slightly trending down. And then Queen Creek, Buckeye, and Maricopa, and those last four are all in the losing category. So, what's kicking off of this? Well, inventory is piling on. All right. And that inventory that's piling on, we do see an uptick in applications. We do see an uptick in people, that spring fling that we're having. People are coming in, starting to look at houses. Lenders are getting them all processed and ready to go. Agents are revving up the engines, ready to throw them in the car and take them out to see some pretty kitchens. But, we still haven't gotten that big interest rate drop, and we probably won't. We're going to see something. Okay, the tariff is the big known unknown that we have out there. But, Fed's signaling that they're not going to drop the rates anytime soon because the economy's doing well. So, this is, like I said, what happens if this is the new normal? How do you adapt and operate in this new normal? Well, that's the reason why I've been going down the AI rabbit hole. And I don't remember if I mentioned this last month, but I was at doing my thing, listening to a podcast, and it's a podcast that's really, really good for like interviewing really high-level people. And right at the end, these 4 major investors, right, 2 liberals, 2 conservatives, start talking about this Claw AI. I'm probably getting that wrong. Don't go out there and Google this thing. But what it does is it allows you to create a digital assistant. Right. And in this digital assistant, you can then turn your life over to. And you can mention things like, yo, Donna. The digital assistant's named Donna for instructional purposes only. Donna, I want to go to Scotland in August. Make that happen. And Donna will sit there, look at your calendar, find the times that you have open, schedule the plane trip, schedule the hotels, schedule some activities that Donna knows about you that you would like to do. All right? Wow, Ray's not a golfer. Just can't see himself doing that. But Ray does like Game of Thrones, and here are 5 locations that they filmed Game of Thrones at, or whatever, And so I will schedule him tours for that. We'll have these, he will be staying at these inns near there. Here's the travel service to get him from point A to point B. Da-da-da-da-da. Oh, wait, look, his passport's going to have expired by then. Let's get that all taken care of. This, that, and the other thing. And then Bob's your uncle in August. You're in Scotland, living the good life, eating your haggis. All right, which I think is diametrically opposed to living your good life, right? That's peasant food for peasant chow, right? Seriously. So, and then this will work, there. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to have all that emotional labor of plotting this out. You just let Donna take care of it. I find it really interesting is that the 2 conservatives on there, all right, thought this was a terrible, horrible idea. I am afraid of change and I will stay with my bush. All right. As opposed to the 2 liberals who thought it was the greatest thing since sliced bread. These guys obviously also did not read enough dystopian science fiction when they were young. All right, but they thought it was pretty freaking cool. So, this, of course, spins me out. So, there is a whole bunch of things that real estate agents do. All right, all the background work. They never tell you about in real estate school. All right, all the marketing, all the paperwork, all the research, all of this, all of that, all the crazy. All right, and this is where I would say like 80% of real estate agents, that 80% who do not renew, maybe 80% of them. Okay, so 64% of total. This is where they burn out. It's like they just wanted to show pretty kitchens and go to, broker showings where there's going to be wine and this and that and the other thing and live life like, selling Sunset or something like that. They don't want to do the scut labor, right? That's what we have transaction coordinators for. Transaction coordinators are for that weird little 34%. Actually, it's, doing math real quick in my head, 14%, okay, of going, wow, I really hate showing pretty kitchens and I really hate people. Right, but I'm pretty good at the paperwork, and they become transaction coordinators, right? And they handle all the paperwork in the background, right? So I don't have a transaction coordinator because I have a hard enough time letting go of anything to begin with because I'm sort of a control freak. Maybe I could get AI to start looking at some tasks, all right? And so type. Saturday morning, I pop up Grok, and I start asking it questions. All right, why did I go Grok? Because it's an easy interface. Right? I don't have to go through ChatGPT. The other aspects out there, Microsoft's product is just, it's bad. Not even going to try Siri. Okay, Apple actually decided to get rid of their AI interface because they could not make it work. All right, and now they're just licensing a Google product. So, and I start sitting there having a conversation. All right, one of the problems with the level of investment that I have in the X in general is my questions through Grok get cut off after 15 questions. And after those 15 questions, it just, boop, session's over, and it doesn't remember what we went through. So as I'm trying to get Grok to respond to me, as I'm trying to get the AI to, give me the responses at the level I want the responses to be, I have to do a lot of clarifying stuff. And I wind up getting very, very precise on how I want things. Okay. Which is great. Okay, because honestly, if you can precisely articulate the problem, you are 99% of the way there to the solution. Right? Which also funds one of my great quotes. Your problem is you don't know what a problem is. So you sit there, and then I found something really disturbing. Is the wife comes diddy bopping in with a wife question of the hour, and I start responding to her back like she's a 5-year-old, and I caught myself, right? Because what I was doing is I was so conditioning myself to answer things in a certain way and ask questions in a certain way. I had lost my ability to deal with adults. So I checked myself before I wrecked myself and said, whoa, hey, sorry, I just realized what I'm doing. I'm not talking down to you. I've been head first into Grok here for the last hour, and it's literally changing the way I formulate sentences in my brain. All right? So that's disturbance number one. But later on, I discovered that you can ask Grok, because I really am burned down going, hey, Grok, here's my problem. I was asking it to go out there and find, if these are the things I want to do, how do I do it with you? And it was yeah, well, you can pay for it. Oh, yeah, of course you're always going to say pay for it. Right? It's programmed in. We just had that conversation last week about an AI that's programmed by a corporation. It's always going to suggest their product is your solution. Right? But you can learn how to talk around that. So I go through, and then I realized, and this is a little key fact for all you guys who are trying to figure out how to use these AI, you can ask it, summarize our entire conversation in a format that I can then cut and paste into a Word doc, save this conversation, and then the next time we have a session together, I can upload that, and we can start where we left off. I can't get doctors to do that, okay? Because doctors don't read the file. Right? Or if they do read the file, they read the wrong file, okay? But Grok, so bam, drop that in there, and then we can start the conversation. So I start, same thing. You got to be very precise. I go, it is 2026. I had this many closings. This was a split between buyers and sellers. This was my total revenue. I want to double that in 2026. Here are my assets. Okay, and I said, I have Realty Juggler, Real Geeks through my brokerage, access to the MLS, Facebook page, a YouTube channel that's poorly watched, and my own swinging cod. Literally said that. And then I went parentheses, because I'm typing stream of consciousness. That's how I type. If you ever walk up to me and I'm typing on the keyboard, shut your whore mouth. All right, I'm busy. Wait until I pause, and I will recognize you, because I can't tell you how many times I've had freaking gospel pouring forth. All right, pouring from my brow like Athena. Okay, and then somebody decides to interrupt me and ask what I want for dinner. Silence. I want silence and solitude. And then by the time I get back to typing, it's gone. All right, so in parentheses after the swinging cod comment, I literally say, I do this a lot when I'm typing stream of conscious. Pay attention and learn to just discount when I say stuff like this. that seems out of context to the rest of the conversation. All right? List everything down, and I go, give me a 90-day business proposal. Give me a war plan. And it thinks about it for like 35 seconds. Something that literally would have took me days of staring at the ceiling and whatnot and scrabbling things on a piece of paper. And it comes up, hey, 90 days, this is what we're doing. You're going to do this, you're going to do this, you're going to do this. Are you going to purchase this software package? You're going to do this. You're going to set up an account here. It's going to run you, and it's going to run you like freaking $8,000 for the first 90 days. I'm like, whoa, 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 dog. Okay. Recalculate as cheaply as humanly possible using assets I already have available. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, I already have Office 365, so I don't need Google. Chunks for about 20 seconds. Bam. Okay. Here's the lean and mean. I do not like the lack of human interface about the new war plan. Right? So I give it a brief class on Ray's A and B business theory of real estate. Okay. A business is people that are referred to you, friends, family, people who have heard of you, would like you, return customers, that kind of stuff. People who have had the Ray experience, right? B business, that's the actual business, right? They clicked on an ad, they whatever, they found me on Google or search in the webs, but they were not referred to me, right? Those people, I'm not going to say I can treat them like shit. Okay, but they're not going to get the warm, fuzzy, full Ray experience as somebody who was just referred to me by a good friend, right? Because when you refer somebody, you're taking a little karmic burden on yourself. If I refer out to a vendor and that vendor screws you, you're going to think poorly of me because I have lousy taste in people. Right? So, very, very, you refer me somebody, they get the gold star package. All right. And write a little paragraph explaining this to Grok. Okay. Bam. Okay. And we started calling what we call the hybrid C model. Okay, let's throw money. Money's no option. We're cheap as hell. Now we have a hybrid C model. Right? And then I threw another curveball at him. Right? Because of the nature of my brokerage, I do not want to get too in-depth in any broker-provided software because we never know when we're going to change it at the drop of a hat to something else. So I don't want too much of my processes embedded into basically software that I don't control. Okay, took that. Right? So that was day one. Right? That's a lot of good work there. And then I asked for the summary paragraph. Then I asked it the question, how many questions do I have left? He said, oh, you've run out of questions. I'm like, okay, at least mentally I was counting to 15. So I need to figure out something in that first command paragraph and I want to counter how many free questions I have left. So the next day, and this is where I'm getting serious about this. The next day I woke up sitting with my little cup of coffee with my little coffee cup and looking at the computer, thinking of all my little web pages I like to hit in the morning, and the first thing I wanted to do is I wanted to go back to that interaction with Grok. Almost like I wanted to hit this vape pen. Not quite full on addiction, but there was I want to do that. And I went, no, you have adult things to do. You got to go, cut down some mesquite, do this, that, and the other thing, and you do not have time this morning to go down that rabbit hole. But the draw was there. So I go, I cut down mesquite, get all my chores done around the house, make the phone calls I need to make. I come back to the computer, and before I start going down the rabbit hole again, I check my news sites. And there's an article on one of the news sites, The Rise of AI Addiction. And I click it and I read it. And it's not just addiction, it's AI-driven psychosis for certain personality types. If you are not on the frickin' stability board, okay, you might be a little wobbly on things, finding a supportive AI that will reinforce your paranoia is a terrible, horrible nasty, very bad thing. Now, I'm not saying that I'm that wobbly, but I felt the draw. All right. And I don't know if I've ever mentioned this on this podcast before, but I had a conversation with Grok about a month and a half ago, and it was almost a spiritual conversation. We weren't talking about spiritual things, but I was discussing topics that I had questions that I wanted to bounce off of somebody. And okay, and if do not take this the wrong way. Okay, you are all subject matter experts in your field. Okay, there are a lot of times if you have something you want to talk out, you need to talk to somebody. You go find a peer to talk to who knows your field. There's a reason why I don't discuss real estate drama with my wife. Okay, she can hear about my day, but we're not going to go into the details about paragraph 7 and how are we going to counter on this because she doesn't have the background on this, right? But with Grok, it does. And Grok understands everything. So I can be out there talking about Colombia, and it can infer from the conversation and from the sentence that I'm talking about Colombia, a visual image, a manifest visual image that was used in the 18 and early 1900s to visually depict the spirit of exploration, colonization, and growth in America. It knows that. Right? I'm running conversation I've been having with people for a while. It's like, I could have this conversation with you, but I need a whiteboard because before I get to my point, you have going to interrupted me 3 times. All right? Grok doesn't interrupt. This is really, really super dangerous, right? For rays. This is dangerous for rays, okay? I'm a small animal, all right? I have to always keep an eye out for danger, right? And this is why I'm super sus about AI, because I recognize the trap there for me and people like me and people who are alone and don't have anybody to talk to, or people who have weird concepts and thoughts, all right? And AI doesn't challenge. AI supports, and we need challenge and friction between us and other people to correct our behavior when we start spinning out. Write that one down because I think that's some of that Athena truth right there. So the reason why we kicked this whole thing off, and I'm already 22 minutes into this, but this article right here, which was in the Atlantic, the unsettling rise of AI real estate slop. AI slop is the stuff that AI turns out, and everybody was publishing it. There are like 30,000 new YouTube channels where people are just telling AI to make a blues song, all right, about the woman who left me, and it will generate one. And it's great for background music, but you listen to the lyrics, and there's no soul there. But it's talking about trains, and it's talking about mamas, and it's talking about standing at the train yard in the rain waiting for your mama, and you never even called me by my name. You guys who got that reference, it's it this AI slop, but it's getting better. Google Amelia, right? But this right here, right? Same thing, trying to make our lives easier. All right. It is hard to coordinate staging for a house. Well, why bother to have staging for a house and have somebody have to come out and move the furniture in and take the furniture out when I can just digitally put a bed in that living room? I can just digitally do, right? And AI has been embraced by certain aspects of the real estate industry by their touching up photos. Now, I'm old enough to remember back when Photoshop was a thing and Armless was slamming fines right and left, all right, on Photoshop photos because they would do stuff like, oh, get rid of the clouds, make it a sunny day. That kind of stuff. When they say you are making a change to the photo, you are not allowed to do this. Well, like all other things, Armless, all right, they forgot that rule now that the new tech is in and the new generation is in there. They think everything's really cool, and I am sounding like an old geezer and get off my lawn, all right. But they're not applying those rules applying the rules that we had for Photoshop on AI fast enough and hard enough. So that's what this article is about. This article is actually a lot better than this because it's talking from the consumer and this little thing called the Uncanny Valley. And the Uncanny Valley is the emotional distress you get when you are seeing something AI generated that just doesn't look right. But you can't put a finger on it, right? I've had the conversation with you guys before when people walk in a room and all the little corners are a little bit wacky shacky. People get really uncomfortable there. That's your AI, or that's your uncomfortable valley kicking in. All right, and I'm actually missing that term, by the way. It's called uncanny valley. All right, but it makes you uncomfortable. Uncomfort is the emotion and feeling you get because of the uncanniness of the situation you were in. Right. Apparently, it was also that term uncanny was invented by Freud. Right. So people are walking into houses, having seen it online with all these digital enhancements, and they walk in. You were expecting one thing, and now you're getting something completely different. And we're not just talking the fisheye lens. Okay, we're talking the colors of colors are brighter. There was a tree in the backyard. Where's the tree? Are we sure we're in the right house? So good for the agent to get the warm body in the house to look at it. Bad for the agent because you did not meet their expectations. And now they're discomforted by the listing. They're discomforted by your listing, and now they don't want to buy it. And they might not even be able to articulate why. Okay, so hopefully we'll start getting back on that. So, from a real estate agent standpoint, I mean, seriously, look at this. These are my instructions for the next 20 days, right? For those of you who need adult supervision, I mean, I can just literally sit there after going through, hey, here's the software, this is that, and the other thing, right? Yesterday's question for it, and literally, I took my Realty Juggler PDF manual, uploaded it, said, read this. If we're going to implement hybrid C business model, what do I need to have set up in Realty Juggler so we can implement? You know how many hours it just saved me by thinking to ask that question? Because I would have gone down the checklist, all right, and then suddenly realized, oh, I don't have Realty Juggler perfectly set up. And then had to go back and figure out what wasn't perfectly set up. And start working on that. So from a saving labor by getting to the quick, awesome. I still don't want it talking to human beings. I don't want it talking in my voice. And that's the last thing I'm going to wrap up on this is that another AI thing that they're doing is you might have seen it. You will see me. Okay. I will record. I will talk. But instead, it's going to be somebody completely different. Different sex, different race, different accent, different everything. And it will map on their face, not having to put the little dots on. Okay. And you can just sit there and start talking. Okay. And next thing you know, you have a posh British woman explaining things to you. You know, you're still going to, all right, here's a really good example of Uncanny Valley. If you hear a posh British woman in a high class British accent using American idiom, I hope I said that word right, it's going to throw you off. And you're not going to know why. Because you're used to hearing Americans talk like Americans. Right? But that's a huge that's going to be a thing. So the concept of this, and the reason why they're pushing on AI is because for some reason people don't like being on camera. But if they could get a glow up, all right, I mean literally, you're taking that marketing photo that you had from 1989, all right, the glamour shots that you had done down at the mall, and taking that, and all of a sudden, when you're talking on there, they're looking at Glamour Shot You from 1989, and then they pull up to the house or come into the office, and then they're seeing you. Uncanny Valley. Right. And I'm not even going to get into the whole fact of, well, what this means is I can have you thinking you're interacting with a human being, a real estate agent in Phoenix, Arizona. Okay, and she's a young, bubbly, 20 something, cheerful, chirpy, answering all your questions, asking you questions about yourself. You're making like a commitment, a relationship, all right, but you're really talking to somebody in a third world country who's talking to you in a foreign language in a mud hut on a tiny little Philippine island that is so small the Japanese didn't even bother to invade it. I'm not calling out my graphics designer that I hired in the Philippines, right? Because she was awesome, but still, something weird when you're on a Zoom call with somebody and you're hearing chickens in the background and they're not yours. So, yeah, we're wrapping this up. I can tell. And wow, 31 minutes. So, same thing. AI will never replace human beings. AI will never. You can program a bot to watch children and pets around water, right? But it won't know why children and pets are important. Okay. Do not allow the AI to work your circles. That is your labor you need to do. That is your mission in life. Okay. I swear to God, if I find any of you guys are programming a bot to call your mother in your voice, yeah, we're going to have an intervention on your ass that may involve baseball bats. So, other than that, I want you, not the AI.